In this session, I will take you through how to access the judicial review pages of the CPAG website and how to use the map of legal support and how to identify which template might be useful to you for the judicial review pre-action protocol template letters, and then hopefully be able to open one of those letters to show you so you can see how they're set out and how easy they are to use, and the sort of information that you'll need in order to be able to use them. So I'm going to hopefully share my screen. So I've deliberately not put us on the CPAG website so that you can see how to get there from the beginning. So I'm just going to put CPAG into the search bar. There you go. So that will be the top result. Then you get to our lovely website. Hopefully you've all been on the new website since it changed. If you go to welfare rights and the drop-down boxes, you've got judicial review project, which is there. And then on the judicial review project pages, I've done various things. So you've got some introductory stuff around what is judicial review, if you want to have a quick read through that. And then it links to how it can help your clients. Yeah, so that's about an increasing number of welfare rights decisions and actions are not open to appeal. Here are some issues that your clients might face, which judicial review can help with. Conditionality, discretionary housing payments, anything discretionary will be something judicial review can help with, because there isn't an alternative remedy in that there isn't a right of appeal. Anything that's where, you know, may be entitled to will be something where there is discretion and judicial review might be able to help. Also delays, yeah, and otherwise sort of failure to follow the law and things which are quite similar to appeals. Why should you use it? I've covered this in other sessions that have been recorded, so I won't go through those. It's free, it's quick, and with the potential to affect wider change. Do you need a lawyer? No, you don't. I'm not a lawyer, yet I am CPAG's judicial review project worker, and we've done the work that you need in order to do it without being a lawyer. We've spent the time and the resources making those materials available to you so that you can sort of reap the benefit of the resources that are there. A bit more about how it works. Let's go back to, I don't necessarily need to go through all of those, but you can see that there's information there. So the most important thing, there's some success stories. Also, if you want to get involved, if you write a pre-action letter yourself that is successful and you want to share it with CPAG so that we can turn it into a template and make it so that the wider advice sector can use it, I would be happy to credit you or your organisation with that and share it on the website. I'm very sort of enthusiastic about sharing resources. You know, we work in a sector where resources are often scarce, and there's a wealth of experience and knowledge that we can all sort of use to benefit claimants in this instance. So the most important thing to my mind is your template letters. So you go to this page, has its whole other page. Using the letters, you can see a note there that they are drafted for England and Wales. You can use them if you're in Scotland, but they do need changes. So for example, the pre-action protocol does not apply in Scotland. So it's a good idea to send a letter before action, but you want to take out references to the pre-action protocol because it doesn't apply. And also, yeah, you'd be looking at the Court of Session, for example, rather than issuing in the High Court, so references would need to be changed. Okay, there's my email address there. Please let us know if you use them, how it goes. It's really important to get the feedback, and also to see how DWP or HMRC or your local authority respond in case we need to edit the templates for other people to use. So these are all then into sort of subheadings, and under each of these letters, well, that bit's wrong, it's not up to 69, I think we're up to 83 letters now. Let's have a look at one that's quite popular, mandatory reconsideration. So under mandatory reconsideration, there are a number of templates. I would say as well, if you use a template, please don't save it to your hard drive and then use it again later. Please download it afresh each time, because we do make changes to the letters. And also for my funding, I need to know who's using them or how often they're being used rather than who's using them. So let's have a universal credit delay in providing a mandatory reconsideration decision. Is this going to work? Okay, so fine. It will ask you to save it. You can, and it saves as a Word document. I'm just going to. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing for a second, just to make sure that when I share again, you can view the letter. So let's try put us back onto there. Fine. So you might find that when you've opened it, you have this screen up here in protected view. You need to enable editing. Okay, I want to view it. Oh, so it comes up like that. So the letters they're all Word documents, and they're like that so that you can edit them as much as you want. You can also cut and paste between different letters. So if, for example, you have another issue, but there has also been a delay, you might want to take some of the paragraphs or the ground on delay out of this letter, put it into another letter, and that's completely fine. You can always have multiple grounds for challenge within any one pre-action letter. Okay, so you can see we've set out, so you've got the address. At the moment it's all by email. That should have the email address, just legal queries at dwp.gov.uk. So you've got all the text. So basically what I've tried to put, anything that you definitely need to change is in red, but you should always read it carefully anyway. So don't just read the red bits, read all of it, because primarily the templates are drafted for individual clients, and it will be where an advisor's got in touch with me, I've prepared a pre-action letter, and then I've turned it into a template. So they are quite client specific, and I've tried to generalize them, but you just want to check that there aren't any, you know, errant reference to multiple children or something when your client is a single person with no dependents. So just to read them carefully. Okay, so you can see it's all set out. Another thing I should say is where the headings are set out. So here you've got, background facts. I think I'm not sure if you've got legal background and grounds separately, and then you've got alternative dispute resolution, for example, as a heading. Try not to take any of the headings out if they don't apply, because these letters are drafted to comply with the pre-action protocol, and the consequences for not replying, although you might not be intending to litigate in the future, they're less likely to be taken seriously if actually it's obvious you wouldn't litigate. And if you don't comply with the pre-action protocol, there are costs implications. Yeah, so it is important to try and stick to the format that's there. If you're not sure, please get in touch and ask. So your background facts, basically, it's fairly obvious. You will need to fill in sort of client-specific things for all of that. But then so the legal background and the grounds for judicial review are the same here. So here, it's quite a straightforward one. Unreasonable delay in providing a mandatory reconsideration decision. We've set out all the law for you. We've said, here's the case law, here's what it says. Then you detail the impact on the claimant. We've given a comparator for a local government ombudsman decision on housing benefit if the universal credit claim includes housing costs. Yep, you want to set out if the client is eligible for universal credit, why it's so obvious that they are, really. You don't need to do anything there apart from putting the length of the delay. You might want to, what have I said here? Delete whole ground if not habitual residence test decision. Yeah. Oh, I think there's a comment up there. See comments. Yeah, delete whole. Oh, I see. Delete whole ground unless the facts are extreme. Invoking it in marginal cases will risk it having limited weight when it needs to be relied upon. So that's where you're. There's a serious implications. If it's just, if it's less serious, please take it out because it will impact on its efficacy in the future. And again, delete all of this if it's not a habitual residence test decision. Although they do seem to be quite often. If it is, then you can just leave all of that in. You don't need to do anything. And then we put in what you're asking for. and particularly for universal credit, you're often saying anything else is on the Universal Credit Journal. So where you're saying details are considered relevant and necessary, you might be saying, please refer to client's Universal Credit Journal for all other documentation. And then there's what I was mentioning about the alternative dispute resolution proposals. Always leave that bit in. Please confirm whether they're prepared to consider this. They never will be, but it is a requirement of the pre-action protocol that you consider it. The address for service and reply of court documents will be the address of the advice agency. So yeah, it will be the advice agency, not the client. Proposed reply date. So the standard reply time is 14 days, and that's what it says in the pre-action protocol. In some circumstances, you can shorten that time frame. That's usually where there's a very urgent need. If your client is homeless, destitute, and they can't wait for 14 days. Or it might be that you're coming up to the end of the 3-month time limit for judicial review, so you need to get a response in order to be within that time limit. There are standard paragraphs in some of the other letters which are more likely to be very urgent. There are paragraphs about, you know, we acknowledge this is less than 14 days, but this is why. If you feel you need the full 14 days, please explain why. Yeah. Okay, that's that one. Let's see if I can open another one. Okay. While I do that, I'll just stop sharing them, just in case it doesn't like it. Let's have a look at, I'll just take you to the claimant commitment ones. I will, okay. These are the claimant commitment letters. I think these don't get used a lot, so I just want to highlight that they're there. So if your client has any of these circumstances and yet has been subject to full universal credit conditionality, please refer to one of these letters, because there are no appeal rights when you're looking at universal credit conditionality, what it says in the claimant commitment. So judicial review is appropriate, and there are some standard letters that you can use. Might be that your client's been sanctioned, or it might be that their claimant commitment is inappropriate and they're therefore at a high risk of sanction and you want to prevent that from happening. Let's go back to pre-action protocol letters. Lots of ones on work capability assessments. Failure to action DS 1500 if somebody's terminally ill. Failure to send for a work capability assessment within a reasonable time. Claim refused from a student in receipt of personal independence payments without carrying out a work capability assessment to establish whether they have limited capability for work. I understand there is a firm who are issuing proceedings on that, so if you do have a client in that situation, please get in touch and we'll see if we can refer you to them. I think they may even have used our pre-action letter, which should be quite satisfying. Where the personal independence payment assessment has not been done on the papers, where you've got somebody where a face-to-face assessment would not be appropriate, and the same for ESA. Yeah, one's on reasons. So shall I just see if I can open one of these? Will it let do that? And you can see that the last when they're last updated is recorded there. So you should be able to see if you've got the most recent version, but I would still be grateful if you download it afresh each time so that we can see how often they've been used. We have targets to meet, obviously. Doesn't want to do that for me. All right, I'm just going to stop sharing for a second so you've got me. Oh, okay, we're back. Okay. All right, so this one is, you can see this one is a long letter of 26 pages. So this might be, for example, if you're doing client work, face-to-face client work, I don't have enough time to write, you know, that many pages. Actually, it's only 15, it's gone down to 15, now it's bigger. Whereas this has taken, you know, we have the resource to do that. So we are spending the time writing these letters and hopefully making it so it's much quicker for you to then use the templates. So yeah, And again, this was, I think, written for an individual. So there's the email address, legalqueries@dwp.gov.uk. Do read it carefully. So there, because it's so long, we've even done extra section on the details of the matter being challenged, because it's a number of different things. And then we've broken down background facts. All of that needs to be edited, obviously. And here we've got the legal background. You've got the legislation. Notice none of this is in red. You leave all of that. You don't need to do any of that. Lots of it about the Equality Act, failure to make reasonable adjustments. Then we've got a bit on their guidance. Again, you're seeing none of this is in red. So providing it's appropriate for your client, that you don't need to do anything apart from read it and check it applies. And then you'll say how your client meets the criteria. And then you've got the same, but for the other issue, the failure to offer a home visit. And then separately, you've got the grounds for judicial review. So we've set out the legislation and the guidance in the legal background, and then you've got your grounds for judicial review. So here, failure to exercise discretion, take account of relevant information, and else. Failure to offer a home visit. We've got a discrimination ground in. Failure to make reasonable adjustments and discrimination. And then the things that we're asking them to do. So you can see, although that's a really long letter, there's not actually that much for you as an advisor to do, because we've done the work there. So I'll just very quickly then go to the, I'm just going back to the web page. Just I have some experience of where I'm going between web pages. Sometimes it doesn't share, so I'm just going to get us to the relevant section and then reshare the screen. Okay, so here we are back on the Judicial Review Project page, and you can go to this network of solicitors. And what this is a map of legal firms who have said if your pre-action protocol letter is not successful and you want to take the matter further, they might be able to accept a referral. And so I contacted, I think, 450 legal firms across the UK, actually Great Britain. I don't know if I contacted anyone in Northern Ireland. And these are the ones that replied. And I think there are maybe 37 firms now. Most of those firms hold a public law contract. So judicial review is a public law remedy. They will not hold a welfare benefits contract. It's a public law contract. Don't be put off by that. And the ones that don't will have, they might be big city firms and they'll do it pro bono. So the ones in purple are legal aid, and if you click on them, it's got all the details, how to contact. The blue ones, as I said, they would help with the pre-action stage only. So that is East Manchester Legal Advice Clinic, and I think that is students from the University of Manchester who would be interested in helping with the pre-action stage. And then I think there should be some yellow ones, mostly in London. Doesn't have to be local to where you are. For example, we've got some that we have referred to, I think, Hackney Law Centre, which is failure to exercise discretion to reduce the amount of a deduction from magistrate's court fine. And they were clients in Newcastle, but we referred them to Hackney Law Centre. So it doesn't have to be local to you, although obviously it would be easier. But particularly if your client isn't eligible for legal aid, you can approach the ones with yellow, who might do it pro bono, and then you probably aren't going to be local unless they live in London. Okay, I think that's all I need to show you on the website. I hope that's useful. If you do have any questions regarding the website, how to access the letters, how to identify which letter is appropriate, please do get in touch. The contact details are on the website, presumably how you've accessed this, but it's jrproject@cpag.org.uk, and that will come through to me, and I can help you in any way that I can. Please do, if you haven't already, watch through the other videos, and do get in touch if you have any questions. Thank you very much for watching.